Welcome to the next edition of The Edge of Right. My name is Joe Graves, founding attorney here at Graves Thomas. My partner, Matthew Thomas, is off today. So we've invited Kris Cooke into the studio to talk a little bit about his business and so forth. He's the owner of Peak Performance here in Vero Beach. Um, Tell us a little bit about yourself, Kris.
I'm originally from the Chicagoland area in Illinois. Um, I was always an athlete growing up, but I ended up finding a niche in football and played collegiate football at a couple of colleges, but settled in at Purdue University. And then I played arena football for a couple of teams for a few years, and then one of my teammates ended up opening a gym down here called Relentless, and I worked there for about 8 years. I wanna say 8 years, and then I decided to, branch out and open Peak Performance.
Chicagoland. They have different pizza there.
Yeah, and different football too, man, don't sleep on us.
Well, my first experience with Chicago was I went to boot camp there. And a long time ago, I'm not even going to say when it was, but it was my first experience with a big city. And actually, Great Lakes is kind of in between
Mhm.
Chicago and Milwaukee. So we take the train down. And I remember, the first time getting off the train in Chicago because we'd go down there and, get a hotel and, kind of get off the base, but we had to wear our uniforms. So
Mhm.
we're in these Navy uniforms walking around Chicago. And then the first guy who walked up to me had like an overcoat on and he pulls his sleeve back and he's got watches all down his arm.
That's so Chicago.
Yeah. So that was my first experience. And, seeing the street walk, the street preachers on their
Mhm.
soapboxes and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of eye opening for me. How was it growing up in Chicago?
It was great. I grew up in a town called Flossmoor in Homewood. It's south suburbs. Um, I loved it. I mean, it was great. And we were just about like 30 minutes from downtown. So you could hop on the commuter train and go downtown and be in the thick of things. I think I'm like a suburbanite. I love like being in the quiet, but I also like having access to a big city and all the things you can do there. But living there, it's definitely it cultures you, you get to see it. We have art museums, Museum of Science and Industry, aquarium, the Field Museum, just all the different, cultures, Chinese, Indian, Italian. I mean, the food is amazing. Seeing millions of people walk around speaking in different languages, it just opens your eyes and gives you a perspective on life that most people may not see living in a small town.
That's what I love about the big city, New York, Chicago, being able to experience various cultures. I've been back to Chicago a few times. My daughter, Emily, is a violinist. And so when we were looking to get her a violin, there's a famous place in Chicago.
Mhm.
We went there and he let her play like a $3 million violin, a
Wow.
Stradivarius. So we're sitting there watching her play this. Um, and I was a little nervous. But the way they do it is they'll lay down a violin and then you play it and then you like out then they'll and then you exclude one. And then you play, then you exclude one. And I'm like, I have no idea what these things cost. And I was a little nervous, but fortunately it wasn't anywhere near that. But that's the violin that she got, and was a violin that was created especially for a World's Fair back in Paris, and it was over 100 and something years old, and she still plays it to today. But Chicago's an interesting place, and with the culture and the arts, and they'll have concerts out on the lawn and
Mhm.
all that sort of stuff. So I'm with you. I enjoy the culture and the various things that you can do in a big city, but I'd rather live in Vero.
Oh, 100%, especially, now that I'm married and I have a, 1-year-old going on 2-year-old, like, in the state of the world right now, Vero just feels safe and nice, and
Yeah.
plus it's paradise, so
Yeah, people complain about the traffic, but, if you think the traffic's bad, go to Chicago or
right,
New York,
tell me about it.
anywhere up north, and you'll see. that, yeah, you know, we complain because we have to wait at a light maybe, or wait at an intersection, maybe a few
I know
minutes, but
people complain about the traffic, and I tell them, I'm like, listen, when you drive downtown and you hit Congress, your reptilian brain turns on because you have to be so defensive because it's so fast and so packed. Like you're just like a robot, you know? So,
yeah, I was watching the news this morning and there was a reporter up in Detroit and it's snowing, you know, and
mhm.
here I looked at my
Yes, sir.
thermometer on the way here. It's a nice 73 degrees and it's going to
Yeah,
get warmer today. So, um, these are the times that we really enjoy living in Florida and living in Vero Beach, especially. But tell me about your
100%.
football. When did you start playing football?
I tried to start playing when I was like 8, but I was too big and I would have had to play with like 14-year-olds and my parents didn't want me to get hurt.
I was
So
in the same situation, man.
no, yeah, like I really wanted to play, but it's probably a good thing I didn't. I started playing when I was 14. I played at Homewood Flossmoor High School and I played on the freshman team for a while, and then at the end of the year, I got moved up to varsity.
Your freshman year?
Yeah, my freshman year, and then my sophomore year, I played varsity the entire season. Um, and then I was getting recruited my sophomore and junior year. I started getting scholarships, and I initially went to Northern Illinois University, and that's where I started, but I ended up at Purdue, went to junior college, was second team All American in junior college, and then got a scholarship to Purdue out of there.
Wow, that's great. So what position did you play?
Nose tackle. I was about
Wow,
130 pounds ago.
that's a tough position.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. What are the job duties and responsibilities of a nose tackle?
Well, I would say nose tackle is probably, in terms of like what your job is on the field, is the easiest, but it is the most physical position because one, at nose tackle specifically out of defensive tackles, I'm head up over the ball. So I'm the first person that needs to be stopped. So if I get any penetration upfield, I can mess up an entire play. So I'm typically getting double teamed, triple teamed sometimes by men that are 6'8", 365 pounds, and two or three of them, you know. So my job responsibility is left A gap or right A gap, go in it and don't get moved backwards. That's pretty much your job.
Okay, so you had to learn a lot of plays.
Not really.
So, yeah, so I mean, back when I was a kid, I played center, and
Mhm.
I didn't like nose tackles,
I ain't like you either.
and we usually did well back in those days. You know, you could stand somebody up, and then the guard could come and cut the legs out.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
do that
illegal now.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's illegal, but it was very effective
Yes.
back in the day, and I can see why they.
Injury prone, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so
High-lowing.
my job would be come off the ball, stand up the nose tackle, and then the guard would come and take his legs out. Um, Probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's interesting. So tell me about what did you do as far as like training and strength training and getting prepared to play
Oh, I
that
mean, what
position?
didn't we do? We lifted probably 4 days a week. I mean, I could tell you our schedule. Mondays we usually had off. But Tuesday through Friday we were training. During spring, that was probably our heaviest like weightlifting. Winter at postseason, right into spring training, that's when we lifted heavy, trying to increase our speed and power and force. And then we had scrimmages and 6 a.m.s where we basically had garbage cans to throw up in the amount of cardio we were doing. Summer ball, they've kind of laid off of it in this generation, but we used to have 2-a-days where you practice in the morning and then practice in the afternoon for 2 weeks. But
I
during the
don't think they do 2 days
they
anymore.
don't do them anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe so. I think they've stopped that, and
Yeah.
I think they don't even hit as hard as they used to in practice anymore.
Yeah, we used to have 2 days,
You know what it is.
morning, afternoon, and then we'd go to there used to be a place called Duff's. It was a buffet,
Mhm.
So we'd go load up because back in those days, I was trying to keep weight and put weight.
Mhm.
Um, but you could just take your shirt and just wring it out.
Oh, yeah.
And, moms were busy because they had to wash in the morning and then again in the afternoon. Um, but yeah, and they used to hold water. Like, you had to do XYZ before you got any water. I don't think they do that. Probably a good thing.
Nah, not even when I was playing, man. I mean, when I played, especially during two-a-days, they will weigh you before on a digital scale and weigh you
Yeah,
after. People would lose like 15 pounds at
absolutely.
practice. And
Absolutely.
then they would have managers with Gatorade with electrolytes and water, and they just run up to you and squirt it in your mouth.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to go get water. You just be like,
Even in high school?
no, no.
Oh,
In high
that's in
school, we
college.
had a hose, and you had
Yeah.
to fight over the.
That's what I'm talking and thing is high school is when you probably need it more. A
Mhm.
lot of these kids 'cause, you don't know, really the shape that a lot of them are in, and a lot of them train, some of them don't. Um, but yeah, so, the one thing that, like, really, surprised me or astonished me about college football is just the speed and the
Mhm.
speed off the line. What did you do about working on those type of issues?
Um, so I mean, when going to a Division 1 college, you find out real quick. Like when I played high school, I was the best player on my team and one of the best players in the state. Well, everyone on your team is that guy. So you're playing with people of your caliber or better. So it's first an internal conflict like, do I want to get better? Well, then I must get faster. And part of D line that's really important, the things that are most important is first your stance, then your get off, and then your pad level. Like that's all that really matters. And then after that, it's heart, grit. Like how hard are you willing to push yourself for 4 quarters and a full season?
Are you a dog or
Are
not?
you a dog? You gotta have that dog in you, man.
Yeah, I always say, to be a D lineman, you have to be a little nasty. You have to
Oh
have that
yeah.
attitude. So tell me about that. I mean, you told me about your training and your schedule. How did that prepare you for what you do now?
Oh my God. I remember when I first started working at my previous gym and thinking how easy it was to have a job. Like how much it is so much easier to wake up early and just work than it is to wake up and immediately either hit the weights or do sprints or get yelled at by somebody, hear a whistle blown. I mean, also the principles that I learned from football are teamwork, discipline, hard work, leadership, being able to take constructive criticism, being able to give constructive criticism. It just prepared me for the real world, like over prepared me for the real world. So I think that it to me that was more important than learning the game itself.
Yeah, one of the things about football that I really love that is a life lesson is, one play you can have a complete failure, and then the next play you can have complete success.
Hmm.
And the mental discipline to be able to handle the failures and to learn from the failures so that you can have success. I mean, Michael Jordan's famous quote was, "Because of his failures, he found success." Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, so at our new gym, I just bought a commercial building, and this will make sense when I finish. And in that building, Peak Performance is inside of it, but also my business partner on the real estate, he owns his own separate company called Talent Code. And it's a baseball. He was a professional baseball player, and he does baseball training, one-on-one training. Well, one of the kids the other day, he he gets really frustrated. And baseball is such a long, arduous sport. They have 164 games in a season,
Yeah.
and you're gonna fail a lot if you have that many games. So the kid is getting all worked up, and I'm like, what is a batting average that is Hall of Fame status? And he said 300. And
30%.
I said, yeah, what is the correlation of the 300? It's 30%. So you're telling me that 70% of the time you're going to fail. So you have to be okay with that. And that's life in a nutshell. Is you're not going to get W's all the time. You need to expect failure, but also learn from those failures so that you can be better and get W's.
Yeah, it's kind of, we have our new tagline, "The Edge of Right," and basically, what we were talking about when we say that, it's the Teddy Roosevelt definition of it. When you're in that thin space between, what's easy and what's tough. When you're in that situation where, it might be easier just to walk away or to give up or do something else, to be able to have the discipline to stand firm and to do the hard work. And that carries over from sports into life, into business, into being a lawyer. Um, Tell me about that. I mean, I'm sure as an athlete, as a collegiate athlete, even playing arena football, there were times that you just felt like, "What am I doing here?"
Joe, if you talk to any professional athlete of any caliber, any collegiate or professional athlete, at least for me, waking up at 4 in the morning and sitting on the edge of your bed, being sore from neck to ankle every morning, I was like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just quit? Why don't I just quit? Every day for years, I was like, why don't I just quit? I would sit in the cafeteria in college and look at normal students and be like, man, I could be just going to class and hanging out with my friends and just have a job. But my, I guess me personally, when I have a goal, I am relentlessly going to pursue it until I achieve it. No matter what, if I got to walk through crocodile infested water, I am going to achieve it and deal with anxiety, depression. I'm never going to quit until I achieve that. So, um, it's a lot easier when it's like building a gym.
Folks, and this is why we want our kids to play youth sports, because these are the life lessons that kids need to learn. And originally, when I was coming up, these were the lessons. I get a little concerned now that there's so much focus on winning and getting the W.
100%.
Um, the problem with winning, everybody likes to win. Everybody likes to hold up the trophy. But, I found the problem with winning is that you may have a win, but within that win, there's probably some failures too, some things that you could have done better. But when you focus on the win, you're not looking at, okay, well, what did I do? What could I do to improve my performance in whatever it is, whether it's a legal case or sports or business or whatever. Failures, when you have a failure, yeah, it's easy to go back and look and say, okay, I did X, Y, Z. And I think failure is only a failure if you just keep repeating it and you don't make changes. And failures give you an opportunity to look at something and change about how you approach it or how you do it. And it gives you the opportunity to be successful the next time. That's why experience is important,
Mhm.
whether it's in the law or doing what you do. And have an experienced trainer, you're going to, somebody that wants to train or start out training, right? I mean, they're going to hit highs, they're going to hit lows, they're going to experience all these things. But having someone there to cheer them on, to give encouragement. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm sure you deal with this in your profession too, but in the fitness industry, I think we can all say that there's a lot of misinformation or just flat out garbage out there.
Probably every industry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You deal with that in your industry where people want the sexy, glamorous pathway to where they're going when, to be honest with you, it's just the repetition of simple things. It's consistency, it's repetition. People that look at athletes from the outside in, they think they're doing this crazy, sexy game plan. When, to be honest with you, the practice I had freshman year of high school was pretty much the same when I played professional football. It's the same thing, but the only way to get better at something is repeat it over and over and over. And then you add a small layer, but you're still doing the fundamentals every day. So I'm assuming in the law, like you can win a case just doing basic things, following the guidelines of the law, but people want to have that sexy result. And it's like, no, that's not how it actually works.
Well, I think, and what I teach my kids, the way I look at life is, you can't always control the result, but you can control the effort that you put into it. So
Mhm.
having discipline, discipline of mind, discipline of self, work ethic, sticking to something, that's how you find success. Success isn't easy. I mean, if success was easy, everybody would find it. Success is difficult, and it's got highs, it's got lows, and you just have to persevere. And it's one of the things that, my adopted kids from Colombia, they have such resilience, and they've been through so much. But that resilience, being able to overcome obstacles, tough situations, it's inspirational to me. And I'm sure it is to you with your clients. Tell me, how did you get into the fitness industry? I know you talked about that you had a friend that started, but what interested you in general in becoming a part of this industry?
It's funny, like, I was a poli-sci, major. I graduated with a BS in poli-sci, and I wanted to go to law school and become a politician and, work in Chicago, but once I took poli-sci in college, I realized how corrupt the government is, and I was like, "I don't want any parts. How about I just be a personal trainer?" So, it was just an easy segue from being an athlete to being a coach because I had been a high school coach. I had been a trainer before I moved down here, so and Florida looked really nice when I was shoveling in May, so it kinda just I say that God pushed me into it, and it was one of the greatest blessings that ever happened to me was that I just kinda fell into training, and I've been doing it ever since.
All right. Tell me a little bit about Peak Performance, your gym. What makes Peak Performance different than other gyms?
That's a great question because my goal is pretty lofty. Like I said, my market space has a lot of dis and misinformation. When there is clear cut data driven by scientists who collaborate at Ivy League colleges and publish this stuff. So what separates us, one, the mission and the values of the business is quantifying data. Quantify data. We all live in a world of math and science. We just choose to attach emotion to it. Everything in your life can be quantified from how many hours of sleep you get, from how many ounces of water you drink, how many training sessions you do a week, how many calories you intake. And if we can measure it, we can manage the results. So we use technology and modern data facts in order to take the path of least resistance to attain results for you, whether you're an athlete or someone that's just trying to improve their body composition. We can map it out using math and science.
All right. And I'm sure people are wondering about for kids, what kids that are involved in sports or interested in sports. I mean, do you train?
Absolutely. And actually, this summer we're gonna roll out a full-time program for athletic development. I've noticed that a lot of these high schools don't have strength and conditioning programs for a lot of the sports, except for the big ones, the football, baseball, basketball, but soccer, the female sports here, they just don't have strength training. They don't stretch. They don't do speed and agility work that's practical to their sport. So we've been developing a program that we're going to full time have at Peak Performance where kids can come of any sports and learn how to utilize their body.
Yeah, I think that's really important for female athletes too. I coached my daughter Sarah for several years when she was playing competitive soccer, and I'm not sure. I didn't know as a father of a female athlete, but their propensity for ACL tears much
Yes.
higher than men, and there's a lot of conflicting evidence or as to why, but strengthening those legs, getting those muscles around, the structure of the knee to support the knee, is that important?
100%. I mean, the people neglect the soft tissue, the ACLs, the PCLs, the MCL, all that stuff also helps you stand up, change directions, apply force, and we neglect them through lack of training or improper training or lack of frequency. So these things can be controlled and are easily fixable, but we just, I, w- that's a different podcast, but I can get into youth sports and my gripe with youth sports and how unqualified people are coaching and not doing a good job preparing these kids not only for their sport now, but they're preparing them for long-term failure by not being qualified, not knowing or not hiring somebody that knows. So but I can talk all day about that.
No, that's 100% right. I think that, with females in particular, but I mean, some of them running mechanics are off, and can be with a male athlete too. So working on running mechanics, all those sorts of things can come into play. Do you work on anything like that?
100%. That's the athletic, just to give you like a rundown of how it works. The athletic development program starts with an intense dynamic warm up, which is a combination of moving stretches and dynamic movements like skipping, backpedaling, lateral movement. Then there's plyometrics, so like jumping, bounding, learning how to improve your running mechanics, your jumping mechanics, twisting, using your quick twitch muscle fibers in different planes of motion. And then we strength train and then we stretch. So that's a session. You're getting everything that you need. And then it's a matter of frequency. How many days a week do you do it?
Okay. So we've talked a lot about athletes, but what about non-athletes or people that just want to, feel better? Do you service those type of people as well?
100%. We train a girl that's 8 years old, and I train someone that's in their 90s, that's post-op. You know, training someone that's just trying to generally be healthy, it's pretty easy. I mean, I believe the Medical Institute of Health and Science suggests that you have 150 minutes of moderate activity. And last year, 2024, they added 2 strength training sessions to that 150 minutes. So 2.5 hours of activity is pretty easy and achievable without getting injured.
What's your vision for peak performance? Where do you see it going in the next 5 years?
My overarching goal is to make an impact on the fitness industry, to make a brand big enough where people take a look at these people are using facts and science and they're generating revenue. Maybe we can start telling the truth too. But in the next 5 years, open another location, um, probably in the same county, and then try to branch off across Florida and maybe across the United States.
Okay. Um, what's the best advice that you've ever received from a coach, either in the fitness industry or football coach or whatever?
My D line coach was like a big brother to me. And he said something to me when I was 17. And it sounds so simple, but when you go through the hardship of life, I understand more being on the other side now than I did when I was 17. He said, life is like, life is like an ocean. The waves go up and they go down. And you just have to learn how to ride the wave. Don't get too high, don't get too low, because life is life. You go through the seasons of life and you just have to maintain stability. So that, I mean, to me, fitness and all that stuff is cool, but like your body is guided by your mind and your soul. So if you don't have stability there, then you're on you're not on solid ground.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that, about, football and resilience and overcoming failure. I mean, I always think of it like, the Tiger Woods type mentality. You hit a ball in the woods and then you push the next ball up to next to the pin. Being able to understand a failure or a mistake or a problem, but, assessing it, correcting it, and then moving on.
Mhm.
And I think that's how, you find that stability you're talking about. Um, if someone were to walk into your gym today, what would you tell them?
Um, Sign up for a free assessment. I, if they wanted to work out with me, we do assessments, a physiological assessment, because I'm not a used car salesman. I don't do that. I let my product sell itself, but I have to get an idea of where you are, what injuries you have, what your goals are, what medications you take, um, and see how you move and see how you respond to exercise for me to make a complete analysis of what recommendation I give to you, how often you should train, what you should do. And so get a free assessment is the first thing I would say.
Okay. And so what type of client or what type of person should come to your gym?
Anybody that wants to put the work in. I actually turned someone away the other day, and I told it was a mother that brought her daughter in, and the daughter was just it was a situation where the daughter was just like a troubled teen, and the mom was trying different ways to, like, reach her, but she didn't tell me any of that. She just kinda treated me like a babysitter and dumped her on me, and I said, "Listen, ma'am, I love money as much as the next guy, but I love my time better. So if you don't want to be here, I don't want you to be here. So, like, if you want to come make changes, I will make it my life's goal to help you reach yours. I care more about people's goals than they care about them.
If someone's never worked out before, been to a gym, could they find a place at peak performance?
Absolutely. I've been doing this for 14 years. So I know my stuff. Plus, I played professional and collegiate sports. I have a background that's probably a little more extensive than most people in this town. Now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. That's just what it is.
Okay. So if someone sees themselves as maybe being overweight or unathletic, just wanting to work out, feel better, be healthy, they have a place at your gym?
Absolutely. I mean, I myself was overweight and unhappy and unhealthy. I was 360 pounds. And at one point, I stopped playing football and I still had these saddlebags hanging off of me, and I wasn't happy. And I had to deal with not only the physical aspect, but the mental part and overcoming, depression over not being happy with who I was and how I felt. And so not only do I have the athletic and physical background, I know what it feels like to be injured, to be overweight, to be unhappy, and I'm here to help you any way I can to help you achieve your goals and feel good.
All right. Tell us a little about the gym. Is it all personal training?
Pretty much, we do what's called semi-private classes. I've always believed that personal training, one-on-one, it's kind of unnecessary unless you're post-op. Like, if you just had surgery and you're learning how to reuse and build a proprioception with a muscle. But if you're a normal person, even if you're out of shape, I as long as I teach you the correct form and I program correctly where you're safe and you're not getting hurt, you can have 4 people doing stuff. Like, you don't need me to hold your waist when you do bicep curls, right? Like, I could tell you to do bicep curls and look over and say, extend your arm all the way. So semi-private's a small group up to 4 to 6 people, and your workouts are pre-programmed using our software. We have an app, and on that app, it charts data. It'll chart your progress
Oh, nice.
across time. Yeah, and then you can favorite workouts, save them, use them for later when you're out of town or you're at home and you wanna get a pump in. So, that's what we do, and we also do what's called private open gym. So it's kind of 24-hour access open gym. However, it's capped at 8 people just to keep the intimate space. I don't want a ton of people in my gym. I think that's what kinda sticks out for us, against, like, a Planet Fitness where there might be 150 people in there at a time. There might be, like, 6 people in my gym.
Are you allowed to grunt?
You are allowed to grunt. Just keep your shirt on, maybe. But if nobody's in there, I don't care. Like, no,
Yeah, I think Planet Fitness, you can't grunt, right? You can't make noise.
no, they have the lunk alarm, man. You'll get death tackled if you sneeze.
How do you see people that come to your gym? How do you see that as an investment in their health?
Your body is your vehicle to get you through life. You know, like you can have mental clarity all you want, but if the more your body degrades, the more your mind degrades, you know, like you're not going to make excellent decision. You're not going to have the energy to navigate life if you don't take care of your body. So your body, you are your greatest investment. Period. I mean, when I became a Christian, the first revelation I had is like, I am the most important person. That's why they tell you to put your mask on first on an airplane. How can I help people if I can't help myself? So investing in your body is should be one of the most important things that you think about every day.
Yeah. It's easy to think about at my age, maybe not at 20 or 30, but it's something that I think habits that need to be established early. Um, to me, I think, finding that balance in life between your mental aspect, your physical, your spiritual life, like all that has to be in balance,
Mhm.
to find happiness. And it sounds like that's something that you believe in and you're working on your clients.
Yeah, your peace is important to me, man, and that's why I wanna affect the fitness industry because there's gyms, local gyms that will have you thinking you gotta jump around or cut your calories, and that's just not true. If we can measure and quantify stuff, you'll realize, like, I don't really even have to work out that much. Like, I don't tell my clients to come work out 5 if they try to come and work out 5 times, I'm like, "You're nuts." Like, 3 days, like, that's good. Like, maybe go for a walk. But if you eat correctly, you hydrate, you get enough sleep, I'm saving you a trip to the doctor
Do you talk about food at
all the
all?
time. We actually have, we just got our display fridge finally, and we sell like protein shakes and stuff like that, but we also have a meal pickup. There's a company called Raw Cookery. Reed Wilmot is a private chef. I believe he's done prepackaged meals for Tom Brady and his ex-wife Giselle, but he's a private chef and he does macros and calories and he'll make you meals that complement your macros and calories. So I just wanted, like, I coach macros and calories, but he will actually make your meals to fit them. So if you don't want to count, no problem, just eat.
Tell us what a macro is.
A macronutrient it's what makes up your calories. It's must haves in your diet, just to simplify it: protein, fat, carbohydrates. And each one of those nutrients do specific things in the body that are very important.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to come work out, coach.
Come on, baby. I got a spot for you.
How do um how do our listeners find you?
Our website is peakperformance-pt.com. You can also call us at 708-268-5261. Our email is info@peakperformance-pt.com. And our new location is 440 3rd Lane Southwest. It's right off of Old Dixie, near Oslo. It's South Dixie.
One last question.
Yes, sir.
And I should probably ask this earlier, but we have a lot of clients, they're dealing with back injuries or neck injuries or shoulder. I mean, are those type of people that have those type of injuries, do they have a place at your gym as well?
Absolutely. As long as they're medically cleared post physical therapy, post op, and then physical therapy, anybody is cleared to train with me. We do partnership with Hercules Physical Therapy, Dr. Alex Spano. So if I can't handle you, we have a nice network of physical therapy. Also, we have a chiropractor that we have a network with. So we're trying to create that type of environment, one-stop shop, so that we can accommodate all walks of life.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell me about your gym?
No, I kind of want to keep it under the wraps and roll it out when it's time to.
Okay. Go ahead and repeat your address and your phone number right quick.
Yes, so our address is 440 3rd Lane Southwest, Vero Beach, Florida. Our email's info@peakperformance-pt.com. And then my number is 708-268-5261.
Well, thanks for coming today, Chris. This wraps up this edition of the Edge of Right, talking about that difficult space, where people occupy, and, it gets tough sometimes, right? It gets tough to do the right thing, it gets tough to persevere, it gets tough to see something through. Um, that's what we stand for. We do the hard work, um, for our clients. Sounds like you do the same thing. You have a similar ethos.
Can I make a quick shout out?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to shout out that the building that we recently purchased is called Quantum Lab, and Peak Performance is inside of there. My business partner, Nick Rains, who owns Talent Code, that does baseball specific coaching, is also within that building. So I just wanted to shout him out because he is, and I'm not kidding you, phenomenal at what he does. So if you have kids, if you're a high school or collegiate baseball player, or pro baseball player, he's the guy you want to see. He's excellent.
Sounds good. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time at the Edge of Right.